Good morning. It's Kim again. It's September the 17th and very early morning. Definitely feels like fall in the air. It's low 50s this morning here in zone 4B, upstate New York. Today I'm just going to give you just a real quick little walkthrough. Today I also plan on, or at least this weekend, plan on moving my house plants back indoors. Nighttime temperatures are getting a little cool, so they really don't like to go below 50s, and we've had 2 nights this week that were in the 40s, so that's a project for this weekend. I have, as you can see, brought some of my Amaryllis up close to the front door just because of those 40-degree nights. I thought it was safer to have them kind of in this little sheltered section of the house. I didn't bring them all up. I still have some that are little pots, as you can see along my walkway there, and one that's kind of buried in there still. But yeah, they'll be coming in this weekend. I don't ever make them go dormant. It seems like just putting them outside in the summertime and then bringing them in the fall inspires them to reflower for me. As you can see, that one flowered this summer, as well as this one that's buried down in there. I do need to cut the flowers off so the bulb can re-energize. I have my first cup and saucer vine flower. It's supposed to be purple, but yeah, definitely, I don't know. I wouldn't call that purple. There's another bud there. It finally did flower though. My lamium, which is a spreader, as you can see, I used it as a ground cover. It's also called dead nettle. Is spreading out onto the pathway. I'm very curious because it spreads by rhizome, I think, primarily. And I wondered actually if it was going to grow under the sidewalk to meet this flower bed. But it kind of looks like it's trying to grow over top. We'll see. We'll see how that all works out next year. Still got those 2 hydrangeas flowering. Not going to cover this hydrangea this year. It's a zone 5, only blooms on new wood. So for the most part, it didn't bloom this year. I covered it. It bloomed last year for the first time. I think we're a little too cold. Our winters are a little too harsh. Bloomed. So I thought, well, we'll cover it. So because the angle of the roof here, sorry, the lighting isn't too well, the snow load really comes off. The snow really piles in here. Pretty much all winter you can have a good 4 feet of snow in this flower bed. So I thought we'll put some plywood. Yes, it looked kind of ugly, not gonna lie. We usually, and I'll show this in future videos, I would imagine, we usually turn over, we drain the water tank, turn it upside down so that it doesn't freeze and thaw and split. So we drained that, flipped it over, tilted some plywood over top to offer some protection so that it would bloom. Well, This little piece right here is the only part that didn't get covered, and it was the only part that bloomed. So not covering it this year, gonna let it fend for itself. We'll see what happens. Still regretting a little bit how drastically I cut out that hydrangea. I mean, it's no big loss. It's gonna next year reflush, rebloom. That would all be filled in again. I do like the fact that I can see this hosta and some of the other plants in there, and it would give me room for more plants back there. But for this year, it is what it is. My hardy hibiscus is still flowering, still doing its thing. Loving it. On this side, this is what they look like the day after. That one's not ready to fall off yet. And these are two that are going to open today. And I believe this one's Spinderella. Another cup and saucer vine that has grown up into the hydrangea. It's all up in there. Is finally getting a bud. It's also growing out on the walkway. That's an annual though, so that won't come back next year. Still getting some dahlias. That one's a half a dahlia. Not sure what's going on with that one. Everything's looking a little tired, a little worn. That Amaryllis. Still alive. You can check them by pushing on the bulb. Bulb is still real hard. So it's kind of doing its own dormancy thing outside. So it'll probably be ready to flower. I would imagine probably Thanksgiving time frame. Down in there is the new hardy hibiscus evening rose I planted. Doing well. Hopefully putting in lots of roots so it'll come back next year. My verbena Bonariensis. A bit much there. Planted a little bit much, I think. I will always have it in my garden. It's a wonderful, absolutely amazing bee and butterfly, especially the butterflies love that purple, the verbena Bonariensis. Didn't quite get the look I was going for. I wanted the dahlias to be growing up in it. I do have the one down there I'll show you that kind of has the look I was going for. But the dahlias still on the short side. Never really grew up this year. Was not a dahlia year. They didn't grow tall and get lots of flowers. There's onesies and twosies, and I've got buds. Lots of buds down in there. But we're running late. We're pushing frost season. So we'll see. My French vanilla hardy hibiscus. There we go. Sorry to get it in. No, I love that look right there with the verbena Bonariensis and that French vanilla. It's a little bit more yellow colored, not in the camera. I don't have a, that'll bud will open up wide today. As you can see, it's loaded with buds. All of those are buds. That's pretty. Those are pretty together. I guess my goal is to make like little mini bouquets outside that when you walk by, they complement each other. Another little clump down here. It's a pale yellow, yellowish green maybe. I got some more that are going to open here. There's an uglier bloom that's dying. Yesterday was its prime. I need to cut off that dahlia. In fact, I should probably get my clippers and take you with me. The more you deadhead dahlias, sorry, I don't want to make you dizzy, the more they'll bloom. I keep my clippers next to my potted house plant there, because the goal is that I will pick them up every morning and use them when I come do my morning walkthrough, which I do most mornings until now because I work very early, and I want to just get the flower here and not the other flowers or buds. And it's dark. Too dark in the mornings now to do a walk through before I go to work. So garden cleanup. It's getting that time of year where people are starting to talk about garden cleanup. I don't do a whole lot of garden cleanup. This is and I took a still of this. This is what the look I was really going for with the dahlias and the verbena bonariensis. And I would love to give you the name of this dahlia. I know I planted Linda's baby. This could very well be a Linda's baby. I planted Linda's baby, Wizard of Oz. I think it's too dark for Wizard of Oz. I think the one I just deadheaded was the Wizard of Oz. I love the ball dahlia with the pink and peach colored hues. And these are absolutely perfect in how they form all the way around to the back. Just beautiful. Nice size. I do prefer the larger ball dahlias over the pom-poms. I did grow pom-poms my very first year, and it was very prolific. Can't remember which one it was that I grew. But, yeah, absolutely stunning. All right, we'll walk through the path here. As you can see, even the petals on the back side of it, like, point back. It just fills in so full. Sorry, y'all, I'm kind of enthralled with my dahlias, and it took so long for me to get them that... This is the Jerry Hoek. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I got that odd one that's got the flower back to back. Not sure what's up with that. It's kind of a bit of a purplish pink. Pretty. That one is, this dahlia has like the rest of them, done pretty horrible this year. That was not a bud, that was a spent bloom. This will be really pretty clump here when those flower with the verbena. This one has had a couple of flowers. This is golden scepter. Yeah. Nothing new happening over here. This has been my most prolific dahlia this year. Definitely needs deadheading. This is Arabian Night. Definitely could have done a better job of deadheading this year. But I got pretty discouraged with my dahlias this year, not gonna lie. Some of these don't look horrible, but I'm going to cut them off just to possibly, maybe get another flush. I don't know. I'm not crazy about the purple with the verbena Bonariensis. Doesn't look so great with the red of the Arabian Nights. Not in my opinion. Everybody has different tastes, of course. See anything new going on here. I'm not going to deadhead my roses because they need to go to sleep. They need to understand that winter for us is coming. So rose hips, that's what they form on them. If I find a good example of one, I will show you. Rose hips, and some people use them to make teas. Not a tea person. Right here. Here's a good example of a rose hip. If you let them stay on there, you might have a little bit, a chance of your rose surviving. Although those roses there are more than blush roses, they are very hardy. They don't have any trouble surviving our 4B heavy snowbelt winters, but they also don't get very big. In all fairness, as you can see, they probably don't get enough sunlight either, though, because I plant tight. This one is a white one, an iceberg rose. Didn't think it was coming back this year because not really meant for our zone, but it did. Got a little bit of dying off of the leaves, or a little bit diseased zinnia leaves. That's pretty common for me, actually. It doesn't harm the flower, it just looks ugly. That's why I have learned not to plant them in the front, plant them behind something so that other foliage can cover up the ugliness of the leaves. This hibiscus doesn't have, this is another Spinderella. needs some cleanup, as you can see. It's well, that one's not coming off easy. Need to pick off the dead flowers. I gotta be careful because sometimes there's bees sleeping in there, and I got stung the last time I was trying to clean up a plant. Still my favorite. Love that intense color. Need to get out here and do some cleanup. It's a little easier when you have two hands as opposed to one when you're videoing. Need to get a tripod or something to use. And there is Kelvin Floodlight Dahlia. Huge. So that's my only dinner plate this year. Okay, in all fairness, that's my only dinner plate that I show. I have a couple of flower beds that I've alluded to that, yeah, they are out of water range, out of hose range. Maybe someday. Every spring I'm great. I tackle them, I start it. It's called my circle garden, but it always falls by the wayside. I am loving that anemone. It's Honore something. Honore Jobert, maybe? I could be wrong on that. Let me see if I can zoom in. I love how their foliage is way down here by the hydrangeas, and they've just sprouted right up over top with those flower clusters. I love the flower clusters. They would look awesome in a bouquet. Let me see if I can zoom in here for you, and just because even the, I guess that's as zoomed in as I can get. Even the let me maneuver back there. Even the flower clusters have like a white tinge to them. So they would look beautiful as an accent, but I have no idea their vase life. Would have been really pretty if that flower would open with them right there. Some yellow dahlias with the white Japanese anemone. All right, stepping back out of the flower bed. That flower bed's probably about maybe 6 feet deep. It's hard to tell depth-wise. My yarrow there's looking pretty bad. The stuff in the front, of course. The newer stuff in the back doesn't look quite so bad. This is a limelight hydrangea, so it's a little later in flowering and turning color. Okay. I need to mow my grass too. Oh, look, I do have a new sunflower. That's very pretty. It's big. It's a big one. Oh, I'd love to tell you what it is. Probably pro-cut yellow would be my guess. It's mostly what I planted this year. I had a bunch of seeds left over, and I just threw some in the ground, and I didn't think any of them were going to come up, but I got one right next to the purple salvia. That's pretty. Got some purple zinnias with the purple salvia. You can tell I like purple, I guess. Oh, that hibiscus is going to flower for the first time, hopefully. I think that one is Perfect Storm. So one and only, can't wait. I think though Perfect Storm looks a lot like Spinderella. We'll see. Alright, I don't want to bore you too much with the same thing that I've been showing you every week. Nothing new. So I planted these, sorry, you can hear the chickens. I planted these, Hollyhocks. I had to think of the name. In the front of the bed because I thought they were short, and they are not. These are the ones that got riddled by the Japanese beetles, but the Japanese beetles are gone. So next year we'll see. Hollyhocks usually do come back. Those are probably going to have to be moved. I don't know. I either move stuff or I also I gotta have it on that power. Or I redo the flower bed, make the flower bed wider, because then it's an excuse to buy more plants. Which my husband would probably say I don't ever seem to need an excuse. It just happens. That's what I do in the winter as well. That zinnia, I'm not crazy about the shape. I like the really filled out zinnias. They all have their place, but it really stands out nicely with the ginger wine 9-bark there. Very pretty. Some pink and purple zinnias, or zinnia, however you want to say that. I really should get rid of the dead Japanese beetles. Here's something I'm torn on. Oh wait, I want to go back here and show you something before I forget. I have some more Japanese anemones. Oh, I forget the name. They're a Proven Winners brand. Probably Falling in Love Sweetly. Not sure. This is their first year. They're baby plants. First time blooming. Excited to have another color of anemone. Yes, those are strawberries. I use strawberries as some ground cover. They're ever-bearing. Something that's good for zone 4B. So I just kind of, something little to grab and eat in the garden when I'm walking by. All right, back to over here. I have an echinacea that is getting ready to bloom. My debate is, do I cut that bloom off? I hate to cut blooms off. The whole point to flowers in a flower bed is flowers. But I can't ever get an echinacea to come back for me. So this year I wasn't going to let them bloom at all. I was going to cut the blooms off so that just the roots would grow, so they would be well established and come back for me. That's the only one of my echinacea though that wants to bloom. So I think I'm going to let it bloom. Against my better judgment. So I can see a flower at least this one year, because the debate is, what if I cut off that bloom and it doesn't come back next year. Then I at least got to see one flower out of it, right? I don't even know what color it is. It's probably a pink or purple. Kind of seems to be a theme in my garden, right? Ugh, still haven't gotten rid of this mess. Don't look over here. That rose has got to go. Too thorny. Excuse me, and it gets too many weeds. Hate to get rid of it, but I can't. I can't tolerate that mess. All right, moving on. Oh, we have another dahlia here that's trying to do something. I have no idea what dahlia that is. Don't believe I've ever seen that color before in my garden. Interesting. That is beautiful. I really need to zoom in. Let's see. Verbena, Bonariensis, and autumn clematis. Sweet autumn clematis. Beautiful. I'll have to get a snapshot of that. Those white flowers on the sweet autumn clematis are so dainty. And that is so full. Let me see here. Beautiful. So full. Planted 3 of them. One there, and one down on the end there behind the birch tree. The one on the birch tree, still behind the birch tree, still not blooming like the other 2. Not quite sure. This one just seems to. This one was actually planted later. The last one. The one behind the birch tree was planted first. So they're probably, oh, I don't know, probably at least a year apart. But clearly the one behind the birch tree doesn't get as much sunlight. Or maybe as much water. Maybe the birch tree also robs it of some of its water. It's doing well. It's just not as prolific as that one. My gladiolus that have fallen over. Getting a couple of more snapdragons reblooming because of the cooler weather, the cooler temps. They come back for me every year. I love that. I thought they were a one and done, but they reseed themselves, so I love that. First year Bobo hydrangea down there in the weeds. Alright. That was supposed to be just a quick little tour to see what else was going on. There's some more of those snapdragons. I have 2 different kinds. The Madam Butterfly and I forget what kind these are. Beautiful. So fortunate that here, the middle of September, I still have quite a lot of flowers going on in the garden. Alright, so I might try to get a video later today of bringing the indoor plants inside. Show you what I do. But that's all for right now. Hope you have a great day.